turkey decoys. A lot of hunters use them in the turkey woods, and a lot of hunters mess up with them too. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over 10 common mistakes that hunters make while they're hunting with turkey decoys during the springtime. One big mistake that hunters make is they use decoys that aren't realistic. You've got to use turkey decoys that look like the real deal, and there's really no excuse because we have some of the best looking decoys on the market right now that we've ever had. So get the best that you can get with the budget that you're on. Get the best turkey decoy that you can afford. Another big mistake that turkey hunters make is they get their decoys too bunched up. They put them in a wad, and that just isn't going to work. Whenever you're putting those decoys out in the springtime trying to get that big gobbler, make sure you spread those decoys out, give them a little room, and you'll be better off. Another common mistake that turkey hunters make is not putting those decoys where a turkey can see them. You got to make sure your decoys are visible, or you're not going to be able to decoy that big tom. One thing that a lot of hunters don't really think about is matching their calling to their decoys. You want to make sure that the calls that you emit with your calls match the decoy set that you've got out. So if you've got out a hen, you want to use hen vocalizations. You don't want to be in a wide open field and have a hen decoy out using Jake gobbles. You know, if a turkey comes out and he sees a hen decoy, he's going to expect to hear a hen. Well, vice versa. If you've got a tom decoy out, you know, and that's it, you just got a strutter decoy and you throw some hen yelps and you're in a wide open area, no cover, and he doesn't see a hen, he's going to know something's up. So match your calls to the decoys you got put out. Something else to remember, don't have rapid movement in your decoy spread. You don't want your turkey decoys doing 360s out there. It's not dancing decoys, it's turkey decoying. And you got to make sure that you got just enough movement, but not too much movement in that decoy spread. Another mistake, no movement at all. It's one of the things where you got to have it in moderation. Have not too much movement, but just enough. So having no movement at all in your decoy spread, especially whenever a bird's going to be able to see those decoys from a long way, is a problem. If you've got them in a location where they're just going to pop out, see them, boom, it's over, it's not as big of a deal. But if that turkey's coming from 200 or 300 or 400 yards and he doesn't see that decoy move at all, most of the time you're going to get by with it. But it's going to make your decoy spread look more realistic if they have some movement. And the way I like to do that is jerk cords. If I've got a decoy out there on a stake and it's not windy and it's not moving at all, take that jerk string 10, 15, 20 yards out, just pull on it a little bit every now and then. If a turkey's coming but he hangs up, give it a little motion. Just have that string tied to the base of the decoy, run it down across the ground, and you don't have to have it on all your decoys. One will be enough. Just give it a little bit of movement. Something else you want to do is make sure you've got a realistic combination of decoys. You know, first, match them to the breeding phase. Early peak gobbling phase, early in the season, use a strutter decoy and a hen, maybe 2 hens. Whenever it's peak breeding, right in the middle of the season, in that suppressed gobbling phase, use a breeding pair. I like to use a Jake and a hen. That late season, that second peak gobbling phase, I don't like to use male decoys. I like to use a hen, maybe 2 hens. Match it up to the breeding phase, also match it up to your location. If you don't see a lot of turkeys out in the field, you only see a few at a time, only put 1 or 2 decoys out. Just match it to your situation and make sure the combination is realistic. Alright, so you want to make sure your turkey's in a realistic pose. Having a good decoy that looks real and having it in a weird pose that a turkey's not going to be in, that's not going to work. So make sure that turkey decoy is in a good pose. And when I say a pose, make sure it's in a position that a turkey is naturally going to be in. We just talked about combinations, but having the exact same combination every time you go on the field is going to be bad. If you're going into the same spot, using the same decoys, putting them in the same position, I'm facing them in the same direction, that's not going to look right to a turkey that's coming out and seeing your decoys. If he's seen that several times, he's going to catch on, especially if you're using the same calls. So make sure you change things up. Last, but certainly not least, you're in that turkey's line of sight. Whenever you know where that turkey's going to come from, or you think you know where that turkey's coming from, put your decoys out and you get to a different spot. You don't want to be in that turkey's line of sight whenever it comes out. You don't want that decoy right between the bird and you. You want to be kind of off to the side. If the bird's coming from in front of you, you got your decoys out, get a little further to the left or to the right. You know, you don't want that decoy to be directly between you and the bird, or it's going to put you right in that turkey's line of sight and you're not going to be able to move at all.